In this lesson, we will discuss failures classification, failure types, warning, caution, inhibition, and oral visual alerts. The flight warning computer classifies failures into 3 separate levels and displays them as either red warnings or amber cautions. A Level 3 warning has priority over a Level 2 caution, which in turn has priority over a Level 1 caution. A Level 3 red warning advises the crew that the aircraft is in a dangerous configuration, or there is a system failure which affects flight safety. A Level 3 warning requires immediate action. The warning message is displayed on the upper ECAM, and the associated systems page will be automatically displayed on the lower ECAM. The red master warning light flashes, or a specific red system light will illuminate. In addition, the continuous repetitive chime, specific warning sound, or a synthetic voice will also alert the crew. A Level 2 amber caution advises the crew to be aware of the aircraft configuration or failure, but immediate action is not required. A caution message is displayed on the upper ECAM, and the associated systems page will be automatically displayed on the lower ECAM. The master caution light illuminates steady, and a single chime will sound to alert the crew. A Level 1 amber caution advises the crew to monitor a failure that results in a loss of redundancy or the degradation of a system. An amber caution message is displayed on the upper ECAM, usually without any required actions, but there is no master caution light or oral alert. Failures are further categorized into 3 types: independent, primary, and secondary. An independent failure only affects an isolated system and does not degrade the performance of other aircraft systems. An independent failure is displayed in red or amber on the left side of the memos section of the upper ECAM, with the required ECAM checklist actions indicated in blue. As each item is completed, it is usually erased from the screen. In this example, both fuel pumps in the center tank have failed. Complete the ECAM actions, then touch the right arrow to continue. Once all ECAM actions are completed and the systems page has been reviewed, one of the clear buttons on the ECAM control panel is pressed to clear the warning or caution message from the upper ECAM. This action also brings up the status page on the lower ECAM. Clear fuel by touching the clear button on the ECAM control panel. The status page displays a summary of the aircraft status and the procedures for continuing the flight with the faulty system or systems. The summary includes any speed or flight level limitations, approach procedures, speed or landing distance corrections, and a list of inoperative systems. After the status page has been reviewed, it is cleared by pressing the Clear push button on the ECAM control panel. Touch the Clear button on the ECAM control panel. The lower ECAM returns to the normal systems page corresponding to the current phase of flight, while the upper ECAM displays a reminder that there is information on the status page. When the slats are selected during the approach, the status page will automatically appear for review, or it can be reviewed at any time by pressing the Status push button switch on the ECAM control panel. Touch the Status push button, then the right arrow to continue. A primary failure is the failure of a system or item that causes the loss of use of other systems or items of equipment that depend on it. A secondary failure is the loss of a system or item of equipment resulting from the initial primary failure. Primary failures are displayed with a boxed title in either red or amber on the left side of the memo section, while secondary failures are shown on the right side of the screen in amber, with a star in front of the affected system. Complete the ECAM actions, then touch the right arrow to continue. Once the ECAM actions have been completed for the primary failure, pressing the Clear push button on the ECAM control panel clears the fault message and brings up the associated systems page for the first secondary failure listed on the right side of the memo section. Successive pushes of the Clear push button brings up the systems pages for the remaining secondary failures. When all pages have been reviewed, the status page eventually appears. Touch the Clear push button on the ECAM control panel until all secondary failure systems pages and the status page have been reviewed. Then the right arrow to continue. The memo section of the upper ECAM is able to display up to 7 lines of text. If the failure messages contain more than 7 lines, a green overflow symbol appears at the bottom of the screen, pointing down to indicate there are additional lines of text available. If there are failures in other systems, the affected systems are displayed on the right side of the screen in amber or red. Remember, the flight warning computers classify multiple failures according to priority, either level 1, 2, or 3, and display them in order of importance. There is also an order of priority within each level. All available lines will eventually be viewed and cleared when performing the ECAM actions and pressing the Clear push button in the proper sequence. The flight warning computer will inhibit some warnings and cautions during certain flight phases to avoid unnecessarily alerting the crew during times of high workload, such as during takeoff and landing. The right side of the memo section displays in magenta a takeoff inhibit memo for flight phase 3, 4, and 5, and a landing inhibit memo for flight phases 7 and 8. If a warning is triggered during an inhibited phase, it will be suppressed until the aircraft enters the next uninhibited phase, at which time the warning or caution will be displayed. The master warning light on the glare shield flashes red with a level 3 warning and is accompanied by the continuous repetitive chime or a specific sound or synthetic voice. The master caution light illuminates steady with a level 2 caution and is accompanied by a single chime. The instinctive method for canceling the master warning and master caution lights and oral warnings is to press the light switch itself. Some red warnings, such as overspeed or landing gear not down, cannot be canceled. Pressing the Clear push button on the ECAM control panel also cancels the lights, but not the oral warning. Pressing the guarded emergency cancel push button switch on the ECAM control panel also cancels the master warning and master caution lights and any oral warnings. For level 3 warnings, the ECAM message display is not affected. However, amber cautions will be canceled for the remainder of the flight. Any canceled cautions are displayed at the bottom of the status page. Pressing the Recall push button on the ECAM control panel recalls any warning or caution messages that have been cleared in the normal process of pushing the Clear push button, or that are presently suppressed due to flight phase inhibition. If there are no suppressed messages, the upper ECAM displays normal for 5 seconds. Pressing the recall push button for more than 3 seconds displays any caution messages that have been canceled by the emergency cancel push button. Anytime a system parameter is out of its normal range, the associated systems page will automatically display on the lower ECAM, and the relevant parameter will pulse in green as an advisory. If an advisory message is triggered when only one ECAM display unit is operative, an advisory message will appear in the ECAM memo section, and the appropriate system page push button will flash on and off. Press the engine push button on the ECAM control panel to see the advisory message, then the right arrow to continue. In FCOM 1, at the end of each system description chapter, there is a chart titled Warnings and Cautions, which lists the possible faults associated with that system. The failure title, and if applicable, the type of oral warning, the master light, the system's display page automatically displayed, the local warning, usually a fault light on a system's push-button switch, and the flight phases in which the fault is inhibited are all listed.